All right, everyone, welcome back to another module here in the Academy. Now, the phase you're about to embark into is incredibly important because we're going to be talking about all aspects that go into a successful meeting with a potential client for your agency, okay? So firstly, we're going to be talking about how to prepare for meetings, then how to make the perfect introduction, how to present your services, and finally, how to close the client, okay? Now, it all starts with preparing for your meetings, okay? So that's before you actually go into the meeting. This might be the day before or a week before. Whenever you prefer or have time to prepare for the meeting, it's a really good idea to just sit down for 15 minutes and do your due diligence, okay? So just prepare a little bit for the meeting so you know exactly what you're going into, and so you don't just seem like an arrogant, unprepared agency owner when you're actually sitting and talking to your prospect in the meeting, okay? So as said, in this first module, we're going to be talking about how to prepare for the meeting, and without any further ado, let's have a look at it. All right, everyone, preparing for meetings. Now, you can be a great closer, but without the correct preparation and without doing your due diligence, closing a client will be a very difficult task. It doesn't matter how much confidence or how many clever sales tricks you have up your sleeve. If your prospect doesn't feel like they're understood, then you will not close them, right? We need to make the prospect feel understood, like we speak their language. And this will assure them that investing in our service is a good idea, okay? So preparing for a meeting doesn't need to take more than 15 minutes, okay? As I said at the beginning of the video, just spend 15 minutes doing your due diligence and preparing for the meeting, okay? This is not something you have to spend an hour and a half doing, okay? Especially because when you follow the outreach structure in the client acquisition planner, you're going to have a lot of meetings in your calendar, okay? And so you're not gonna have time. It's not going to be possible for you to spend an hour preparing for each meeting, okay? That would be a waste of time, especially because you can't expect to close a client in every single meeting, okay? Now, obviously, the better you've prepared for that meeting, the better your chances will be of closing a client, but there's also such a thing as closable clients and unclosable clients, okay? Now, any sales expert will say, oh, there's no such thing as an unclosable client. But believe me, there is, especially in the agency world. And there's just some clients that if they're so far away from being closed and they don't feel ready, well, then we don't want to work with them, okay? And that's why in most cases, just doing 15 minutes of due diligence and preparing, that'll be more than enough, okay? Because you literally just need to pick up a few key aspects and memorize just a few facts about their business and their industry, and that's enough, okay? So that's what we're going to be breaking down right now. So it all starts with the research, okay? Now, first of all, what industry they're in, okay? Get acquainted and learn the key words, okay? So your client could be in any particular industry, okay? Now, what I want you to just do is just to Google a little bit around, okay? Just make a couple searches around that industry, okay? Find out what the keywords are. Now, this could be anything, okay? So pretty much any industry has just a few keywords, like social media marketing agency. Well, the keyword here is SMMA, right? That's a keyword or an abbreviation, but any particular industry has some keywords that might be good to just get a little bit acquainted with, because coming back to what I said in the beginning of the presentation, you want to speak their language, okay? If I go to an accountant and this accountant already knows what Stripe is, which is what I use to accept my payments, and they already know what PayPal is, which pretty much everyone knows what PayPal is. But if let's say I go to an accountant and they just know exactly how I accept my payments with Stripe, just how my entire business is structured, well, that means that they're speaking my language, and this will automatically make me favor them as an accountant over an accountant that doesn't even know how I accept my payments. Do you understand what I mean? So it's really important that we just speak their language, because this will reassure them that we're the right people to invest their money in, and it's us that they want to be working with, okay? Yeah, they're just going to feel safe in your hands if you try to just get a little bit acquainted with the industry and try to speak their language naturally, okay? Next point here is going to be, who are their biggest competitors? And I want you to just remember these by name, okay? So again, do a couple of Google searches, find out who their biggest competitors are, okay? Now, I generally recommend finding 3 to 5 of their biggest competitors and just try to memorize them by name, okay? If you can't remember 5, just remember at least 2 or 3 of their biggest competitors by name, because again, this is speaking the language, right? And so you don't just want to talk about their competitors throughout the meeting. We're going to get into the actual section of the meeting itself in the following modules. Just remember, you don't want to just keep on mentioning their competitors, yet it's really good to just have it up in your sleeve to remember their biggest 2, 3, 4, 5 competitors, because again, that reassures them that you've done your due diligence and that you know their industry, okay? Next point is going to be, what does their customer demographic look like? Okay, now in just a couple of minutes, I'll actually open up a sheet, and you guys will actually have a sheet or a script for every single part of the meeting. So after each presentation in the following modules, I should present you guys with a sheet and quite a few resources. Okay, so in just a couple of seconds, I'll open up the first resource for the meeting phase, and in there we'll look at what goes into the customer demographic. Okay, so we want to find out what their customer demographic looks like. Right? What is the average age of their customers? Is their product gender dominated? So is it more consumed by men or women, or is it a unisex product? Where does their customers primarily live? Okay, so just figuring out the customer demographic. And again, I'm going to show you the research sheet, okay, for the preparation phase in just a couple of minutes. Finally here, next point is going to be, have they previously been running ads? Okay, so as you've learned in the prospecting phase where we're looking for clients, you can easily see on a prospect's website whether or not they have a pixel installed on their website. Okay, now obviously, if they have a pixel installed on their website, it's a clear indication that they've probably been running ads previously. Okay, and the last point here is going to be, what can you do for them in terms of taking them from point A to point B. Okay, now we're going to go in detail with this inside of the sheet in just a couple of seconds, but it's really important just to, for yourself, just make it clear what it is that you're going to do for them. Okay, because what it is you're going to do for them is not Facebook ads, it's not Instagram ads. What you're going to do for them is take them from point A, their current situation, to point B, their ideal situation. Okay, their ideal destination. That's what you're doing for them. Okay, and so it can be a really good idea to just figure out where are they right now and where they want to take them in the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, because then you have this reassurance yourself that, oh, this is actually our objective. This is why we're having this meeting, and this is why we want to work with them. Okay, so yeah, guys, finally here, you want to figure out, what's the meeting location? Is it gonna be at the client's office, or is it gonna be on Zoom? Okay, now before we jump into the resources sheet, I just want to quickly demonstrate how you can go about scheduling a meeting on Zoom and inviting the client. Okay, now we're talking about all this more in depth in the final phase of the academy, but just want to throw it in here. So if you just go ahead and exit the presentation and open up Zoom right here, you literally just come into Zoom, click schedule, then you give it a name. So that will be SDX, just give it, I usually call them XDX client name, so I give, this is actually the name of the client. And then you can call it strategy meeting. Okay. Then you give it the time horizon, of course, leave this generate automatically. Fine. Waiting room. Yeah, I like to leave it open so they can actually join the meeting before us, and then we can admit them into the meeting once we join. Host video on, participant video on, computer audio, and then I use iCal. Okay. Now, if you use Google Calendar, you can go ahead and select Google Calendar. Now I select iCal, then I click save, and then it will automatically open up my calendar right here, and you will see the event pop up right here. Okay. And then you can invite the client right here. Okay. And so as you'll see, outside of my name, there is a question mark. Okay. Now I'm going to invite my primary email. This is my secondary calendar and email. On my old Gmail address, but yeah, this is Stacey Digital's website web address, right? Email address. So I could go ahead and invite myself. What did I do right there? I obviously misspelled it. All right, guys, I wasn't able to add my own address because it was my own address. I apparently hadn't tried that before. Nevertheless, you should be able to just do like test@test.com. Okay, add that. Okay, and as you can see now, there'll be a question mark right here. Right, then we go ahead and send the invitation by clicking send down here. I don't know why it's so far down, but if we click send right here, it'll send out the invitation to the client directly by their email, and then they'll have the option to accept that invitation in their email browser. And once they've accepted this invitation, it'll look like this. Okay, so there'll be a green check mark on their name, so you can actually see that they've accepted the meeting. All right, guys, so that was just quickly how to go about scheduling a meeting. A Zoom meeting with your client if the meeting is held online. Okay. Now, obviously, if the meeting is held at your client's office, well, then there's no need to schedule it like that. You literally just agree on a specific time. You can even create an event in your calendar still and invite them to this event. But there's not much point in it. You just put it into your own calendar because you have an agreement at what time you're going to meet them at your office. Okay. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to physical client meetings, you don't need to suit up. Okay, you definitely don't need to put on a suit, but just dress in something casual, but not a hoodie. Okay, I definitely don't recommend trooping up to your first client meeting in a hoodie. Okay, so wear something casual like this, just a knitwear sweater or something like that, not sweatpants, and a decent pair of shoes. Okay, don't pull up in full streetwear. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Again, you don't have to wear a suit, but just dress the part, right? So yeah, that's going to be it for the presentation. I'll just jump into the actual resource right here. And so this is the meeting preparation sheet that you guys will find linked below this module. All right. So as you can see, it includes all the points that we just went through inside of the actual presentation. Okay. So first of all, the prospects industry, right? What is their industry and field? Just describe it briefly. Write about 3 lines about their industry. Okay. This will just give you some general knowledge on what it is they do, and yeah, just about their industry. Then list the prospects' 3 to 5 biggest competitors. Okay. Again, between 3 to 5. Just find them by searching around on Google. Then you want to list the prospect's customer demographic. Okay, so what is the average age range of your customers? Is it gender dominated or neutral or unisex? What is the interests of their average customer, right? So is there a common denominator between their customers? Is there something in particular that they're interested in? You can use this for the targeting when you're creating the ads. And then location specify. Okay, so is their customers predominantly located in the US, or perhaps in New York, or perhaps in Texas, or perhaps in Europe, or perhaps in Belgium? Do you know what I mean? So either it could be very broad, like all of Europe or all of US. Could also be state specific or country specific, okay, or even city specific, right? If it's a national brand that only sells in, let's say, Italy, but the majority of their customers are here in Milan, right? So just specify the location of their current customer base. And that doesn't mean that necessarily that's what you're going to limit yourself to in the future when running ads, but it's great to know what their current foundation is. Okay, and then have they previously been running ads? If yes, describe how. Okay, so you can either write something like, most likely the prospect has a Facebook pixel installed in their web shop, but they might not be running any ads. So you can write, the prospect does not currently have any active ads running on their Facebook ad library, right? So you'll learn more about the Facebook ad library inside of the service delivery phase, but that's essentially a tool we can use to check if a company is currently running any ads, and a little bit more specifically than just looking if they have a pixel or not. Okay, you can see exactly what ads a company might already be running. Okay, you can also use this to spy on their competitors. Okay, moving on, what can you do for the client? And it's what we talked about in the presentation. Okay, so what is their point A and what should be their point B? Where do we want to take them, right? So first of all, are they a client running on a Shopify web shop? If so, you can calculate their daily visitors and calculate their estimated revenue as shown inside of the Finding E-commerce Clients module, right? So you guys would have seen that inside of the module where we're talking about how to find e-commerce clients. You saw all the calculations I did, and yeah, how to see how many daily visitors they have and how to calculate their estimated daily revenue. So yeah, if they had 200 daily visitors and a 3% conversion rate, that would be 6 sales daily, and perhaps you can calculate that their average order value is $100. Well, then that would be $600 per day, which equals $18,000 in monthly revenue. Okay, so you can just do some basic research like this. Again, it takes a couple of minutes as shown inside of the how to find e-commerce clients module. Third, our goal is to take this client from around 15 or 18,000 per month in current revenue to around 30 to 40,000 per month in the next 3 months. Okay, we will do this by starting with a monthly ad spend of $5,000 and aiming for an initial return on ad spend of 3x. Okay, long-term goal, scale ad spend to 10,000 per month and maintain 3 to 5x ROAS, create 30 to 50,000 in monthly revenue for the client. Then, you can list if there's some particular web shop improvements that you want to do for the clients, if there's some funnel improvements you want to do for the clients, or if there's somehow, they could improve their online social media presence. Which is, again, not your service. So this is not something you're going to do for them or charge for them, but it's always a good idea if there's something that you see that they can easily fix, then just let them know what it is and have them fix it, right? Because that will, contribute to your campaigns, right? If their online or social media presence is better, then your ads will also perform better. Again, so it's not your service, it's not something you're charging for, but you might provide just a little bit of consultancy on what they could improve, because this will, positively impact your campaigns. And then finally here, you just want to sum up your offer. Okay, so basically everything you listed here, but summed up into what you're actually offering the client, right? So you could have, for example, a base return of $2,000, and you take 5% of the ROAS or 5% of the ad spend. Okay. And then your initial ad spend for the client would be $5,000 per month. That's what they're spending on ads. That's what you're kind of judging that they should be spending on ads in the first month in order to hit these goals that you've set. And then thirdly, your goal is to take the client from approximately 15,000 per month to 30 to 50, 15,000 per month to approximately 30 to 50,000 per month in the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, so that's the preparation sheet. Okay, guys, I want you to go through all of the points we listed in the presentation, and that's essentially how you do your research. Okay, again, this doesn't have to take more than 15 minutes. Every time you're doing research for a new client that you're going to have a meeting with, you literally just make a copy of the sheet as shown before. Just click File, make a copy, and you just fill it out. Okay, again, it takes less than 15 minutes. You make a new copy every time you're going to a meeting. Just do your due diligence, a little bit of research, and this sheet will serve you really, really well inside of that meeting, because you'll just have done your preparation properly. Okay, and that will just set you up for a more successful meeting, because you're going to be able to speak their language, and they will instantly be able to tell that you've actually done your research and that you're ambitious about working with them. Okay, so that's going to be it for this module, and I will see you in the next one.